Hello, hello. Welcome to another stream. It's Friday, 9:10 a.m. I'm very happy to see everyone online, and um, today is another Friday update. So we're doing Friday streams for a long time. There were sometimes little breaks, but Friday, 11 a.m. is the time. This is video 6 of this new iteration. So today I would like to connect with everyone about the current work that we're doing at Lot, talk about the user experience, just a few updates. Uh, Last 2 weeks, I was in Mexico City, and the connection wasn't good enough for the video stream. So I'm happy to be back. We've done some work in the past weeks, and the work is spread on all necessary parts: the user experience, design, hiring, business plan, vision, communication. I wanted to say big thanks to everyone who responded to the hiring opportunities, people who send their portfolios and resumes. For the past this week, actually, I spent whole week talking to connecting to everyone from the uh, people who reached out, and it's super exciting, super exciting, super overwhelming to be connecting with people all over the world. It's interesting how there's people from Europe, America, Russia, Georgia, Armenia, China. It's Eastern Europe. It's really all over the world. Los Angeles, New York. We had three. Uh, we have three openings, which is full stack product designer, front end engineer, and CAD engineer. So the full stack designer is someone who knows all the programs, of course, but able to create user experience and communication, product design, all as one person. Uh, so we're looking to create. I think Lot is known for building complete new experience in terms of product design, product presentation. So we always break the internet with how we present images and present products. So now we're looking for the next iteration and uh, just something new, research and design, photography, video, product description, product rendering, product photography, communication, and of course the product itself. Then we have front-end developer. It's another thing that I feel that we are famous for, is to build exceptional websites with very advanced flow, advanced layouts. So that's the next iteration. And CAD engineer. And CAD engineer is, and yeah, it's big shout out to front end developers because it's very important to render, create those pages in a perfect way. The simpler the design, the harder it is to create the product page. So it's all about the spaces between letters and the text, the size of the text in microns. It's rendering the 1 micron uh, left right. It doesn't feel the same. So it's very important to create front end uh, of the web page in the most perfect way possible. And then the next one, the opening was for the CAD engineer, and so was able to connect with a lot of great CAD engineers uh, that we will be working with client work and a lot of products as well. I think before we would design something in as a concept, then quickly prototype it, and then kind of launch it to the production, and then see how product will perform. This iteration will try to make it more tangible. We will go from more prototyping in advance and then manufacturing. So I think that will be the process. So we'll be working with CAD engineers to create the uh, ready to print products, ready to mass produce products. So I just wanted to say big thank you to Bogdan, Dragos, Timur, Vlad, Louis, Quentin, Danya, Ivan, Kirill, Pavel, Lubim, Min, Sasha, Michael, Pavery, Connor, Han, Il, Nikolai, Vlad, Sean, Antoine. Had really amazing chats and absolutely inspired to move forward. What's interesting to me is that we would have a conversation with just a few. We historically were working in a small team, and I feel that in retrospective, perhaps that was something that we needed to expand faster. And I feel that after the conversations this week with everyone that get in touch, I'm thinking that building a team, expanding a team is the way to go, because the opinions and the conversations are beyond the category, beyond design, beyond front end development, beyond CAD. People know about prototyping, people know about team building, about product building. So I'm just excited to work further on institutional funding and looking for ways how we can create a bigger team. So to me, that's very inspiring. Rather than working with one, two people, working with many. And especially if we're talking about development, and we are currently building the website and the app, it's interesting to think about kind of a symbiosis between in-house team and open source. So open source is not the answer because it's still very hard to work in group without uh, direction or a leader. So there's always must be champion and a leader behind the group. But finding a way how many people can contribute is interesting. So perhaps the role of the leader of the development and champion of the development is to find a way how to plug in more developers. The role of the product design lead is to find a way how to plug in more product designers rather than consolidating everything within one person. So that's the next iteration to find a way. And it's always tricky because um, there's still a clear vision to what it can be, and so finding a way how to keep the direction vision in one place, but also keeping it open, like open source, so people can contribute, is the interesting subject, interesting task. So that's what will be going with the team in the next few months, is to finding a balance between championship, leadership, and open source. So as much people as people want can contribute. So the plan for today is to go through the document that we already seen. There's an updates, and I just would like to read through it so we um, I guess keep the focus on this iteration and how it can be done without going too much on the sides. Even with the app, the subject is so vast, and there's so many directions that the app can take that even within past 2-3 weeks we already had so many ideas what it can be. But still we must focus on just one simple direction. And so what we found out is that the questions were uh, if the questions inside the app will be hard coded like they were before, or they will be AI generated. So they most likely will be AI generated already. So it's all out to Phil, who is working on backend and already done a lot of work behind the scenes how to generate the questions. And it's really magic because just 2-3 years ago we would just 2 years ago we would be on a Google Doc trying to compile those questions um, for weeks. And now the machine learning the tone, learning the language, and generating those prompts for you, for us. So the goal is that every user would have their own generated questions, even at the beginning. We start to work with Vlad, who is a front-end developer, and he's building the website and the web app. We had conversations um, about I ask advice. For example, Timur, I ask him advice. How people in the chat, so I'm just starting the discussion, that we would go and invest into the web app rather than investing into native app. Um, the last time we did this, this was native app. As you can see, the front camera is on. The prompts appear. These prompts are hard-coded. The front camera is native, and we launched the app through test flight. And the complexity was to go through App Store, because the conversation with App Store is why using front camera, what's the app for, what it does, and it's hard to explain that it's a self-care, self-actualization app like they don't have that category. Uh, so we try to go for just it's a mirror app. Um, Also, then why there's text, you know? Then we said it's a smart mirror app, and still. So this time, instead of going into the native app on the iOS, we're going with a web app. The advantages is that it would work on Android as well, on all devices. It would work on desktop even, and we don't have to go through App Store. And if we will, when we will get to 1,000 users, we will start development of the native iOS app. So that's the plan. The complexity is that front cam. There's actually further we're going into the web app development to understand that it's not so much of the difference between the iOS app and web app. There's some minor user experience bumps, like you have to allow the camera use each time you log in, but we can find a turnaround around it. To turn around, uh, you you have to install the web app to your screen, home screen. It's not something that we usually do with sites, but you can do it. So there are ways to use the web app exactly as an app and use it every day without uh, difference in experience. So thank you everyone who participated in the discussion and all the advices that I received um, from people who experience with both app development and web development. We going with web app. So that's the final for now. We will base the work in the next perhaps year based on this user experience. As you know, we've been experimenting with Web3, we've been experimenting with cryptocurrency, banking, decentralization, decentralized ownership, mobile home, personal gadgets, spaces, ideas with furniture. And so it's just great that Lot can fit all those visions together under one coherent vision. Instead of having many products, it still was a one coherent roadmap. Every product made sense. So in the same shelf, in the same line, we would have a toothbrush, a banking system, cryptocurrency exchange, Web3 decentralized system with ownership, and mobile home. And somehow that whole, and fashion, and somehow that whole uh, line of products fits together. I don't think there is a brand out there that can say the same. Even brands like Muji, IKEA, even Apple is still limited. They can't just launch those things. We had such a great experimentation phase where we found design language and narrative language to be able to launch almost any product, food even, to make it coherent, one after another. But it's still too much for a team, a small team, and at this stage. So we have to focus, and for the next year at least, we'll be focusing on very straightforward self-care tools. But the context is still very uh, vast. It covers some fundamental aspects of human life. So what comes into self-care? It's mental, social, emotional, spiritual, and physical. Mental would be reading, learning new skills, creative pursuits, meditation. Social, participating in communities, quality time with loved ones. Emotional, therapy, joyful activities. Spiritual, nature, spiritual practices, psychedelics, meditation. Physical, sleep, sport, nutrition, hygiene. It's also very interesting new findings in the past few months that we never discussed in the previous iterations because lot was very self-focused. It was just for me and nobody else. That was the value proposition. I think with this new iteration, we're shifting towards family-focused self-care. And in that case, it's becoming slightly different in very interesting direction. Quality family time. It's family outings, game nights, shared meals, cooperation, cooking together, distributing chores, shared social routines, collective joggings, brushing teeth together before going to sleep. Versus me, where I have boundaries, I have my individual social routines, I have my personal space, I have my personal timeouts. In this diagram, my favorite part is brushing teeth together before going to sleep. Creating an experience, not a product. So it's not about designing toothbrush, but designing those 30 minutes of its use. It's not about industrial design, how it will look, because that all comes after. The colors, the materials, the clip for the mirror, whatever the other company is selling, that comes after. For us, it's those 30 minutes or 20 minutes that we can design for a family to do it. And it's interesting uh, when you think about just experience for myself, because now it's becoming kind of existential, like what I'm supposed to think about at that moment. Whereas brushing teeth together is much fun, much more fun, and much more promising. In the morning, you plan day together. At night, you uh, talking about what happened during the day and have a laugh about certain events. I think promoting that experience is way more positive than promoting uh, my personal 20 minutes. I'm thinking about this diagram a lot every time I'm brushing my teeth by myself. I'm like, what am I supposed to think about? Let me extend this moment for another 5 minutes. Let me look in myself into the mirror. Still very strange moments. So designing those moments is very interesting. And the app that we're building hopefully will help exactly with that. The motion, the physical motion of the brushing your teeth probably will be the same. But the mental state during that moment can be altered and can be explained, and we can come up with some kind of routine description or a prompt that will help you to get to the new state. There are a lot of tools in self-care category, hygiene even in particular, that we already built, shipped, prototyped. Some fits to subscription, some doesn't fit to subscription, or don't fit to subscription. Some only good for store, but we spent good 5 years thinking about these products. and a lot of spend a lot of money, time, and human resource to prototype these products. Subscription makes total sense for most of them because it's about the refills. It's about something that you receive every month and you use it anyway, every day, every morning. So perhaps focusing on those experiences like morning, night could be key for us. Uh, for now, we think to have even more narrow focus, not just the morning, not just hygiene, like it's self-care, hygiene, morning. And we would like morning still can be uh, divided through certain experiences like shower, bowl, brushing your teeth, washing your face, applying cream, washing your hair, meditation. So there's already so many things we can do throughout morning, just 1 hour in terms of experiences and products. We decided for now focus on brushing your teeth, and that's the first product that we think we will uh, first routine that will be in the app and the first product that we will ship. It might shift, might change, we might do something else, but for now we're focusing on brushing your teeth. That's the those 15 minutes of that hour that we would like to work on. There's interesting category that we add in this iteration, family, and things like puzzle set, storybooks for kids, coloring books for adults and kids, nature exploration kits, outdoor sport equipment, family cooking. Those things are new to the vision, and it's very interesting how uh, we will find the balance between sending products on subscription to family. One of the feedbacks that were consistent with many users is that I subscribe, I use just few items, but my kids love it. So there was a lot of conversation in the past year about launching a separate kids-only company or kids subscription company, subscription products, products for kids on subscription, like the library, for example. And the decision was made that, well, let's design products that works both for kids and adults. So there's no age. They must be fun. They must be designed from materials that's safe for kids and safe for adults and fun for both to use. Because there's really no much different in it. We make that different in our heads. Um, so we might go away from all black because that's not really kids friendly or user friendly. We might go away from certain military kind of aesthetics. It possibly will be more fun and more um, joyful. But yes, all of these products are under consideration, and so it depends on the next iteration of work, where it will be about business planning, calculating the cost, and finding the best way to restart the subscription with physical products. Or also the manufacturing that we plan to do in the US, even locally in Los Angeles. So a lot will depend on manufacturing, margins, and planning for the subscription. Perhaps it would not make sense to launch only the oral hygiene experience. Perhaps we would need to add the whole morning for subscription to work for a year with refills and uh, accessories. So that is under consideration. And we feel that a lot will come from the work with the app because there are questions that we're designing, the prompts that we're designing will inform us on what products to launch first. So I really hope that this new iteration of Float will be based on not only user feedback but also numbers. So we can calculate the right proportion of everything rather than only navigate by what's looking good or what's feels nice. So the plan is to have healthy margins for each package, for each product, so the company can be profitable. That's very important if we want to scale it to that whole vision that I was talking about. Mobile home, banking, crypto, wallet, Web3, those things require funds. Back to the app is, I think what's interesting that we researched in the just last 2 months, and a lot of uh, was brought by Phil. One of the most important terms I think that Phil brought to the conversation was a long-term memory. It's here in this another document that we it's about the development of the backend. And long-term memory is a very interesting term because using the newest AI tools, it's amazing, but it still don't know me and I don't know what's going on. Even if I teach it and I talk to it, it can't remember what happened months ago. It can't help me with that. I still have to have my own moments of reflection, be it about personal life or family life or work. And so, what we want to introduce, and I feel that that's one of the biggest innovations so far, and one of the biggest value propositions is that our system will have long-term memory. So it might ask you a follow-up question that you've been uh, answering months ago, and that we feel will be a magic moment when the machine can remember and ask you something that only you know that it's important, and only you know that what you answered. Nobody else, even we can't know. The company can't know, other users can't know. It's only you and the machine knows that answer, and uh, now it can follow up. Even more interesting if the follow-up will happen based on the context. It's time of the day, location, weather, activity patterns. So if we know that you slept not enough, we might the machine might ask you this certain question. And the next time you haven't slept enough, it can follow up on the question. So things like that. Or for example, location. We know that you're outdoors and we know that there's raining. Perhaps there's a special moment for special prompt, for special question. Based on that answer, next time you're outdoor, we can ask something about rain. Of course, time of the day. Still, all notifications on multi-billion companies and corporations feels like push notifications. There's it used to be that like it's like 10 a.m. and it's like boom, you have 10 emails in the same time or 10 notifications in the same time. Now, a few billions later, it's spread. Now it's between 10 and 11 a.m. So what we want to do is make it much more personal and that you have your own pace. Perhaps there are days when you don't see any notification, and then you have it early in the morning or late at night or something that is very personal for you. for your time. So the context awareness of this app is our biggest value proposition with that guarantee the long-term memory. There's all these points come from that from those two points: context awareness and long-term memory. It's adaptive and personalized recommendations. It's emotional intelligence that can provide empathetic and supportive responses that are tailored to users' emotional state. Progress and achievements visualizations, allowing users to see their growth, accomplishments, and areas of improvement over time. Subtle nudges and reminders, rather than intrusive and abrupt notifications. Subtle vibrations, soft sounds, or visually pleasing prompts that blend seamlessly into the user's daily routine. Personalization options according to user's preference, setting the frequency of reminders, selecting preferred undesirable topics of interest. Zero judgment environment. Non-biased language. Positive reinforcement for self-care efforts and progress, focusing on the user's achievements and growth rather than any perceived shortcomings. Non-directive guidance and suggestions for empowering users to make their own choices in this self-care journey. These are examples of questions that will be in the app. Just from my perspective, not technical language, but user experience language, and the backend of the system before would be that we had to create a web of questions. If you answer this, if you pick this answer, remember it and come up and choose from those questions in the next time. And that web would go to certain limits because that's only this far we can create a kind of quest game-like experience. Now that quest experience will be created by the machine. So once you answer one of those questions, what's next can be asked, we don't know. And that's the beauty of this new world we live in. It will be truly a conversation with the machine. And our goal is that machine is not an abstract assistant. Machine is really your mirror. So you're talking to yourself. That's the goal with a long-term memory and pacing and context is that eventually it will feel that you're talking to yourself. You journaling, you tracking your own spirit, your own being. That's why we used to say on the first iteration on TestFlight that it's self-actualization app. You know the Maslow uh, pyramid of needs. There is food, comfort, shelter. It's a very physical comfort, shelter at the very bottom of the pyramid. And then self-actualization is very top. So hopefully we can provide with all those parts that human being needs. Self-actualization is self-care. If you know who you are, you stop running from yourself. You start to invest more into yourself, more in your time with your mind, with your body, and it can't be just prompt like go brush your teeth or you have to go run or do some sports. That's not if the person is not comfortable with the day, not comfortable with its own their own mind, then self-care can be enabled. It's very hard. In because of the world we live in, we are all a little bit we're missing the childhood, right? And we're missing the moment that someone can take care of us, help us take care. And many times we look in our partners, in our life, people that can take care of us, rather than we can take care of ourselves. And uh, hopefully we can help with that thing, with this system. So it's not AI for the sake of AI. It's not about um, just pushing the technology and showing that we know better or something like this. It's really perhaps the best way to use the machine. It's not to help you write an email. It's not about making the research on white paper. It's not about like browsing the internet for you and give you the news in the morning. It's really about help you to understand. Not it's not about understanding the world we live in to the some extreme limits, being like the god of information. It's really about keeping track of yourself, of you, help you to be the best version of you, not through many distributed apps and services, but with one coherent, simplest possible user experience. One of the things that already were prototyped, and you can see them at in our Telegram bot that was built by Phil, is that it can give you resume of the past answers. For example, at the end of the week, the app will give you some kind of journal entry about your self-care routine, about your week, based on the answers. More examples of prompts. There's of course future discussion about attaching wearable devices and sensors to that same app, because usually when you use a sensor or gadget, it will give you numbers and graphs, and you have to connect it through Bluetooth and download the data and analyze the data. And even if you use health app on iPhone or you use Apple Watch, it's still graphs and numbers. And sleep app on the iPhone is graphs and numbers. So hopefully with this question prompt, user experience, long-term memory, context awareness, using of those gadgets can be a little different. So in the future, there should be access where you can plug in EKG monitor, sleep monitor, or any other sensors uh, to the system. That's an opportunity for us to manufacture sensor too, of course, but that's uh, sometime later. I like the example of prompt that might work with sleep sensor. Anxious about going to sleep? How do you know? Not at all. I'm not ready to talk about it. This is a great example of very different approach to tracking. Instead of it's time to go to bed, or you must have 7, 8 hours of sleep, or giving you graphic data about your past months sleeping habits, it's really giving you the foundational question. It's like, why would you be on your phone till late? Why would you work till late? Is it because you're anxious to go to sleep? You're anxious to for tomorrow? And these things are very hard even to say out loud, and it will be very hard for people to receive these questions because they kind of existential and hard to answer. But hopefully, again, this question will come in the right time as a follow-up to other question based on some context where will feel comfortable and prepared to talk about it. The document, there's a shout out to Lapka. Um, Lapka was launched more than 10 years ago, and a lot of ideas about self-care with gadgets were there already. So uh, we have experience working with hardware, sensors, iPhone accessories, and that experience will be utilized later. This is an image from past versions of LOT, where we would send the measuring tape, and you will be able to log in some of your body measurements and data to the system that we can use later for manufacturing. For example, if we know that people put M, but actually they would go more for L size of the t-shirt, we might adjust our manufacturing and adjust sizing on the site. So that was a very complex system on backend. The vision for this that it would be computer vision, so something you can just take a photo of yourself. But we found a way how to make it as cheap, as simple as possible. Just measuring tape and log in your data. So starting with lot V1 that was launched in April 2017, we have been experimenting with the ways of connecting physical products and our online operating system in order to create seamless user experience. Even with strongest vision and team of highly professional specialists, this mission was difficult to accomplish because the technology was not there yet. That's why we're making decision to focus on the digital first and then go for subscription manufacturing in the later iterations, because it will be even with funding, even with the best people, the best team, it is still very, very hard to do both. So perhaps launching this app first and use the data generated by that app and user base to launch subscription would be much healthier and uh, better for scalability of the company. This is how the system used to be, where we would have a system of products, not just one product. So the flask would work with a coffee drip funnel, and you scan a QR code of the product and you go to the entire product category, where you would have these all separate products that we will ship: a flask, a coffee drip funnel, and then coffee accessories, where the uh, paper cones for paper cone filters for coffee would be a refill. So once you receive all the products, the refill would be every month. That's a great example of how we think about the products. That it's not about just sending you a magic box with some surprises. It's really to allow you to build a system of products, an experience. This is an entire experience where you make coffee in the morning. You don't think about coffee because there was plan to send it to you too. You don't think about refills of, you don't have to go to store to buy them or go to Amazon. You would have enough of paper filters. And then you have beautiful experience of drip coffee, and then you just close it and go to work with the same flask. And the flask was sent first. And this other products we would send you just year later. So that's a great example. And then we would have a playlist for the moment, for the exact time of you making the coffee, the dripping coffee. Great example of one of the user experiences and products that we had. Um, same approach will be done for morning routine, brushing your teeth, etc. Another interesting example. This is a prototype from the past. This is 2020. The example of the packaging that can enable augmented reality interface. Used to be science fiction. Now, with camera on, computer vision, and AI, this is a very different story. So the future iterations of float can be very, very sci-fi, and hopefully will top these prototypes. The reason why we would use the packaging uh, like that is because our products are smart without having any electronics in them. So you would just like you receive an iPhone, you have to activate it. The same, you have to activate a toothbrush. You receive a product, and by simply by opening it or scanning it with your camera, we know that it's on. So we can start to calculating the expiration date and know when to send you a new product. So the packaging will be designed with this in mind too. This time we might use something more advanced like NFC tags, uh, or still stick with barcode scanning. But activation of product is very important because that's a piece of data that can be very useful to send you the refill in the appropriate time. And then follow up with a prompt that's ready. There was a question in a few streams ago how to make sure that people will not uh, abuse the system and just play with buttons and then receive some strange amount of products. So I think a combination of those milestones, you receive a product, you scan it, that's one. Then you receive a prompt that asking something as a follow-up. Then another prompt. Then maybe you have to scan the product. So those things can guarantee that we will have very precise information about product expiration. And hopefully we'll solve one of the subscription, all subscription businesses' biggest uh, issues is overconsumption, or yeah, overconsumption when it's just start to send you too much. So hopefully those simple measures in user experience will help to send you exact amount of units, exact amount of products that you need, or exact amount of refills. So smart packaging. Here's the outline of the experience for a family, and this is very big for the future for us. Shared account, monthly packaging that contains products not only for me but for entire family, and customization. It could be interesting work with the poetry that we use to engrave and mark the products. It could be really integrated with the functionality of the product. So a toothbrush for Jean says a soft embrace, and only Jean knows that it says Jean has sensitive gums and shouldn't brush teeth too hard. So it's a reminder based on collected data throughout months through the app, through usage of the products, very personal information too. And on the toothbrush, it just says a soft embrace. For Paula, the toothbrush might say not Paula, not a date, like we used to have a personalization. It might just say mindful meals. And for person that looks on the toothbrush, it's just a, just two words. But for Paula, it's about knowing that she needs to reduce tea sensitivity, and operating system suggesting her to eat acid-free food. So I love this very much because it shows how deep the experience can go. Just about brushing teeth, it's beyond scheduling dentist appointments. It's beyond choosing hard or soft uh, the toothbrush. It's really about the entire uh, person, and so many aspects of person can be touched and affected through this system. And of course, the vision is that hopefully soon the manufacturing, not this year, not next year, next 5 to 10 years, the manufacturing can be personalized. The 3D printing will go to the point where it's not only about the engraving or marking, but the entire shape of the toothbrush can be slightly different based on person's input. The vision was outlined like this: a relationship with the physical product and its consumption through subscription is a way to interact with the assistant. As a result, the model becomes a reflection of yourself. The technology combines AI models with physical products, providing a truly personalized self-care experience, something like Emoji 2.0. This is the slide where I think we'll finish today's presentation, and it's about creating a story for a person. After answering those prompts, after brushing your teeth, unpacking products, making sure the subscription works right with you, you might receive a personalized story about yourself that will give you a moment for reflection. Maybe that's the reward at the end of each month. I would like to say thank you to Lera for building, researching, and preparing this document. It's essential for the next iterations of what we will be doing. I think we'll be going back to this document monthly, and while we work on the deck for investors, while we working on the app, that's a great focus of what we have to build, and the vision is summarized perfectly. So it's a great document. So to summarize, um, is that I'm grateful for people to get back answering for the opportunities and openings that we have. There's a really amazing team starting to assemble very fresh approach to the mix of technology and design. So we have focused vision for the next year, and we are working on the app, and I hope that we'll be able to share the link very soon and start talking with the personalized self-care AI. Once the app is running and we accumulate in the user base, we start development of physical products and starting the subscription. This time, we would like to go in a more tangible way with manufacturing in the US, assembly in the US, and more focused product lineup. So that require time and resources to work on properly. We also would like to base those questions, those products on the data, not only on feelings of the team. So that's what's and why we're doing all this in this with this approach and transparently and uh, step by step, because we must build product with this new paradigm of AI. That's very important. We have to start there. We can't just start shipping. We can't just manufacture 10,000 units and start shipping them. We must start with AI as a foundation. And we must design subscription with the right business plan behind it, so it guarantee mass market scalability. Shout out to Phil, Vlad, who working on the app. It's very exciting to see the updates. So let's talk next week and um, let's polish the vision, make it more focused, and I hope to have some more updates about the development in general. So thank you very much, and let's talk soon.